Hi, I'm Brittany, and in this video I want to talk about Venus-Pluto aspects in Synastry. So what is Synastry? It's when you're comparing two people's birth charts and seeing the aspects that are being made between the two charts. So taking one person's planets, putting them over the other person's and seeing what we got going on there. And it really shows how the people interact, how they feel around each other. And it gives that flavor of what the relationship is going to be like, and you really can tell a lot from it. So Venus-Pluto relationships are really, really hot, and it can feel like it is the love of your life, and you want in on it. You're very attracted to the person, and sometimes it seems like the Pluto person has a little bit more of the control over what eventually goes on in the relationship, and the Venus person is very enthralled by Pluto's intensity and really likes that feeling. But this can also interchange, especially with the opposition. I find the roles can switch sometimes, and sometimes Venus will have more of the power, or and it'll switch back and forth between who has the control in the relationship. So I find it hard to do interpretations that are like, oh, Pluto feels like this, Venus feels like this, because sometimes they can be interchangeable and sometimes things can switch too. But either way, with a Venus-Pluto relationship, we have a great depth of feeling, and I've had this a couple times in my relationship, so I really know how it does feel, and it's very powerful, the reactions that it stirs up in both people. Venus is seen as very beautiful, and Pluto is seen as very sexy and intense, and there is a lot of sexual attraction here. And this is the person that you see across a crowded room, and you just, oh, you want them. And it's not a light-hearted interaction either. You want all of them. And the thing with Venus and Pluto is that it rules over second house, which is what we own, what we value, 8th house, other people's money and resources. So it's a very jealous and insecure place where we want possession of another, and so it can end up happening that maybe just one person is really wanting to take hold on the other, or both people are very strongly attracted and they want each other, and so they enter a relationship, because a lot of the reason for entering relationships is you want to have some type of possession or control over them. Like, say you're my boyfriend or you're my girlfriend, like you're my girlfriend now, like people want to have that, and when you have these type of contacts, you want that, or one person does. And the tricky thing here is that I think the Venus-Pluto aspects, they bring up so much feelings in you, and ultimately Pluto is supposed to be regenerating and transforming feelings. So if you've got a lot of negative beliefs around love, feelings that, feelings that you're unlovable or that you're not good enough, all of these are going to be brought up in this relationship. And so sometimes before the people even get together, we have to go through some feelings of rejection, or feelings of jealousy, or feelings of maybe that person is going with someone else first or something, and we have to overcome these feelings. And maybe that's all that the relationship will end up being, is just an opportunity for you to overcome your insecurity feelings about relationships. So that can happen too, but when it is a real relationship that does end up getting going, it will be characterized by a lot of deep feelings between the two people, and a lot of transformations and growing, and a powerful attraction to each other. And of course, the positive flowing aspects, the sextile and the trine, are going to be more easy in their expression, but they have less of a pull sometimes too. Well, but they still have a lot of a pull, but it's the hard aspects, the conjunction, yikes, the opposition, which can actually end up being good. Those can be good still, like they can all still be good, right? Never look at an aspect and say, oh, the relationship can't work because of this one aspect, because that's not really the reason why we have synastry and relationship astrology. It's not showing you what's not to be entered into or what's not going to work. It's just going to show you what once you're already in a relationship with a person, what type of stuff you're going to have to go through. Because the relationship is chosen by the souls. Usually important relationships in our lives, we have a soul connection first. And we've chosen these contacts in order to learn specific lessons that we are wanting to learn as souls. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the opposition is really hot because we have this feeling that we both will balance each other out and become this perfect harmony, and it's not always easy to have that harmony, but we sense that we can have that, and it is possible for us to have that. And the opposition really brings two people together and with a huge amount of attraction for each other. The conjunction is just even more powerful. The people are so strongly drawn to each other and attracted, and the whole relationship is like a constant state of transforming and lots of sex and growing. The square is actually quite common in relationships, I've found, and I've had a relationship with a square, and it kind of brings out the darker sides of both people, and it brings out the jealousies, it brings out that pure sexual primal passion, but it can change into fighting. And fighting can be hard to stop because with the square, nobody wants to back down. We both kind of want to fight. So Pluto can end up really dominating over Venus, actually, because Venus more wants harmony than Pluto, but Pluto can be really jealous of Venus, and that can happen in all the contacts, but especially with the square, it can be harder to work out, but it's not impossible. And people actually like this in their relationships because I've seen a lot of charts where long-term relationships, people do have this one, so it's not an ending if you have that one. It's pretty attractive, I think. And the inconjunct is kind of funky too. It's a little bit more awkward, but people are very attracted. Pluto has some power on Venus, and any of the other minor aspects actually I don't really know about. But anyways, this isn't about each individual aspect. I just wanted to do a general video on Venus-Pluto because they're just so fascinating. And actually, I think it's really quite common to have a relationship with a strong Venus-Pluto tie. Oh yeah, and I would go up to maybe 6 or 7 degrees orb on this one. If you're using orbs that are larger than that, like, I mean, you could maybe still feel those things, but usually it's the stuff within 0, 3 degrees. Those are the really felt things. Or if there's a double whammy in the synastry, those things are really felt. And the wider aspects, like if you're thinking that it's probably something else that's causing what you're feeling if the aspect is more than 6 degrees. So for Venus-Pluto aspect, 6 degrees, I would keep it. But if you're in the 0 degrees, it's so unconscious and it's so powerful that you're, like, you can be an astrologer, you can know that you're having a Venus-Pluto aspect with someone, but you still succumb to all the weaknesses and difficulties of it if it's a 0 degree aspect. It's totally unconscious to the people involved, but you can take a step back and realize, oh, this is Venus-Pluto in action. Okay, so, and yeah, up to 3 degrees is really, really powerful. And it'll be a huge theme in the relationship. And so there can be themes around money as well. Sometimes the Pluto person seems to have more money or resources or something that the Venus person wants, and something that the Pluto person uses to sort of have some control on Venus, depending on where they're at in life. If they're operating from the higher or lower end of their Pluto, right? And Venus is usually seen as very beautiful, and actually I think Pluto can be even more jealous than Venus because Pluto sees in Venus beauty, and Venus is kind of a lover and attractive, and Pluto wants to own and possess that, but Pluto could even be afraid of how Venus acts because Venus is so beautiful that Pluto wants to make sure that they're really with them, if that makes sense. But it can also switch because Venus can think Pluto is so beautiful and attractive and sexy, and sex is the best of your life because there's so much passion here. But the passion can go evil with Venus-Pluto, because Venus and Pluto are more selfish energies. We want what we want, and if our person is not behaving how we want, we get pissed and we want to lash out. And now, depending on what signs you have it operating through, but so it's a tricky one. You just have to realize and know that it's going to bring up all the deep, dark feelings in yourself related to love and self-worth, and you have to be ready to heal those. And then once you're getting in the flow and you're having all these, you're healing all your jealousies, you're healing all your insecurities, and then that's when you can have a really beautiful love relationship with lots of passion and care and concern for each other. And then you're operating on the higher side of this aspect, and you can have true love. You can have the love of your life. This really can be that once you transform those lower feelings of jealousy, insecurity, possessiveness, and of one person sort of wanting dominance over the other. Once you can transform all those feelings and just be with each other, there is a lot of caring here, and you genuinely love each other, and any hate that comes out of a relationship like this is really just because that's how much love there is there between these two people. Okay, I hope that made some sense. Comment if this is true, if you have it in your relationship. I would love to know. And thank you for watching.